She came as a housekeeper, the cowboy whispered. You'll rule this ranch. Amara had never seen a place like the ranch before. As the car rattled over the long, dusty driveway, she looked out of the window at the wide-open fields, dotted with cattle and the occasional windmill spinning lazily in the breeze. The air smelled of earth, grass, and something wild she couldn't quite name. It was a world away from the cramped city streets she had left behind. She had come here for a fresh start, a chance to leave behind a past that had weighed heavily on her, and she hoped this quiet, remote ranch could be the beginning of something better. When she finally arrived, she stepped out of the car and took in the sight of the main house. It was large but simple, built from warm timber and stone, sturdy and strong, the kind of place that had weathered storms and survived the test of time. She carried her small suitcase in one hand and took a deep breath, trying to calm the nerves that had started fluttering in her stomach. Today was the start of a new life, and she was determined to do her best. The first person she met was Cole, the owner of the ranch. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with a rugged look that spoke of long hours in the sun and hard work. His dark hair was a little unruly, and his eyes were sharp, almost like he could see right through a person. He didn't smile often, but there was a quiet strength in the way he carried himself. When he extended his hand to Amara, she noticed that it was calloused and strong, a hand that had worked the land for years. "Welcome to the ranch," he said, his voice low and steady. "I'm Cole. I run this place." "I'm Amara," she replied, shaking his hand firmly. "I'll do my best." Cole gave a small nod, observing her closely. There was something about her calm confidence, the way she held herself, that caught his attention. He could tell she wasn't afraid of hard work, and that was rare these days. Most people who came to the ranch only lasted a few weeks before they left, overwhelmed by the work or the isolation. He gave her a quick tour of the house and the immediate surroundings. The main rooms were simple but well kept, and there was a clear sense that someone had cared for this place, even if it had been neglected in recent years. Cole explained her duties: cleaning, organizing, helping with the meals, and keeping the house in order. She nodded, taking mental notes, already planning how she would make things run smoothly. After the tour, Amara was introduced to the ranch hands. They were a tough, skeptical bunch who had been working here for years. Some of them barely looked at her, while others whispered among themselves, clearly sizing her up. She could feel their eyes on her, testing her, and she knew that gaining their respect would not be easy, but she didn't let it bother her. She had faced challenges before, and she had learned to stay calm and focused, no matter what. The first few days were hard. The ranch was not just a house. It was a working farm with animals to care for, meals to prepare, and countless small tasks that kept everything running. Amara quickly learned the rhythm of the place. She woke up before sunrise, fed the animals, prepared breakfast for the hands, and then moved on to cleaning, organizing, and helping wherever she was needed. Her days were long and exhausting, but she felt a sense of satisfaction she had never felt before. She was building something tangible, something real, and that gave her strength. Cole watched her quietly from a distance at first. He noticed how efficiently she worked, how she anticipated what needed to be done without being told. She had a way of moving through the ranch with purpose, quietly taking charge without making anyone feel ordered around. It was rare to see someone with such natural instinct for organization and care. One afternoon, as Amara was arranging supplies in the barn, a small accident occurred. A bucket of feed tipped over, spilling across the floor. One of the younger ranch hands rushed to fix it, but he only made it worse, scattering feed everywhere. Without hesitation, Amara stepped in. She calmly directed him where to sweep and how to move the feed back into the bucket. Within minutes, the mess was cleaned up and the barn was back in order. Cole happened to be nearby and had witnessed the whole scene. He couldn't help but be impressed. Most people would panic or complain, but Amara handled it with quiet confidence. Later, when they were alone, he said softly, almost to himself, "This woman, she could run the entire ranch." The days turned into weeks, and Amara began to find her rhythm. She was learning the names of the animals, understanding the schedules, and even noticing small things that made life easier for everyone. She organized the pantry, sorted the laundry, and found better ways to store supplies. Slowly, the ranch hands began to respect her. They would nod when she suggested improvements, and some even came to her for advice. It was clear that they recognized her competence and her calm leadership. Cole started giving her more responsibilities. He asked her to help plan the weekly tasks, coordinate with suppliers, and even manage the schedules of the ranch hands. Amara approached each task with care and attention, never asking for praise, but quietly earning the trust of everyone around her. Cole watched her closely, noting how she handled pressure, how she solved problems, and how she treated everyone with fairness. One evening, a sudden crisis struck. A small fuel tank near the barn had leaked, creating a dangerous situation. Flames could have started at any moment, and the ranch hands panicked. Amara didn't. She quickly instructed everyone to move to a safe distance, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and managed to control the situation before it escalated. Cole arrived just in time to see her standing confidently, calm in the face of danger. He couldn't hide his admiration. As he watched her, he whispered to himself, "This woman, she could run the entire ranch." The words were almost like a promise, and they lingered in the air. Amara didn't hear them, but the moment left a lasting impression on Cole. Despite the long hours and hard work, Amara felt a sense of belonging she had never known. The ranch was not just a job. It was a place where she could prove herself, where her efforts made a real difference. She found herself thinking about the ranch even when she wasn't there, planning ways to improve it, and caring deeply for the animals and people who lived there. Her relationship with Cole remained professional, but there was an unspoken connection growing between them. He respected her abilities, and she respected his leadership. They didn't need to say much. Their actions spoke louder than words. Each saw in the other a strength that complemented their own, a shared dedication to the ranch and its survival. One night, after everyone else had gone to bed, Amara stayed up late, reviewing her notes and planning for the next day. Cole quietly entered the room, watching her work. He noticed the way she focused, the careful way she organized her plans, and the determination in her eyes. "You're not like anyone I've ever met," he said softly, standing in the doorway. "You've got a mind for this place, for more than just the house." Amara looked up, surprised. She didn't know what to say. Cole continued, lowering his voice so that only she could hear, I think you could run this ranch one day. You've got it in you." Amara felt a mixture of shock and pride. No one had ever spoken to her like that before, recognizing her abilities and potential. She didn't know if she was ready for such responsibility, but the thought ignited something inside her, a spark of confidence she had never felt before. As Cole left the room, she sat there quietly, thinking about what he had said. Could she really run a ranch? Could she take on the challenges and responsibilities that came with it? She didn't have the answer yet, but for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of possibility, a sense that maybe, just maybe, she could do more than she had ever imagined. The ranch settled into a peaceful quiet that night. The wind whispered through the trees, the animals were calm, and Amara felt a sense of connection to this place she had never felt anywhere else. She knew that the days ahead would be hard, that there would be challenges she had never faced, but she also knew that she had the strength to meet them. And somewhere, not far away, Cole stood watching the ranch under the moonlight. He thought of her, of the quiet confidence she carried, and the way she had taken charge without needing anyone's permission. He whispered again, almost as if testing the words, "This woman, she could run the entire ranch." Amara didn't hear him, but the words hung in the air like a promise, a whisper of something greater to come. And as she drifted to sleep that night, she felt a quiet determination settle in her heart. She had come to this ranch for a fresh start, and she knew, deep down, that this place might just be the beginning of something extraordinary. The morning sun rose slowly over the ranch, casting long shadows across the fields. Amara was already awake, moving quietly through the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the ranch hands. She had settled into a routine now, but every day brought new tasks, new challenges, and new ways to prove herself. Even though her work was demanding, she felt a sense of purpose she had never experienced before. Cole arrived shortly after, already dressed in his worn jeans and plaid shirt, ready for a long day on the ranch. He gave her a nod of acknowledgement as he passed by, but he didn't say much. That was typical for him. Cole rarely spoke unless it was necessary, but his silence carried weight. Amara had learned to read his moods and intentions, and she knew that the quiet respect in his eyes was his way of showing approval. Today, her task was more complicated than usual. The feed schedule had been disrupted by a late delivery, and several of the animals were restless. She worked quickly, checking the water troughs, feeding the cattle, and making sure the chickens were safe in their coops. Every detail mattered, and Amara noticed the small things others often overlooked. She adjusted a loose gate hinge, organized the feed bags neatly, and even cleaned the barn windows so the sunlight could reach inside. The ranch hands watched her with a mix of curiosity and admiration. They had begun to see that Amara wasn't just another worker. They realized she cared about the ranch as much as they did. Some of them even asked her for advice on small problems, like how to handle a stubborn horse or how to store supplies to prevent spoilage. Amara answered patiently, never looking down on them, always treating them with fairness and respect. Cole observed quietly from a distance. He was impressed not only by her efficiency, but also by the way she inspired others to do their best. He had never expected to see a housekeeper who could command attention without ever raising her voice. There was something different about Amara, something that made him trust her instincts even before she proved them. As the morning progressed, Amara noticed a problem with the irrigation system. One of the main pipes had a small leak and the water pressure was dropping. She didn't panic. Instead, she gathered the tools she needed and called over one of the younger ranch hands to help her. Together, they repaired the pipe carefully, making sure that the water flowed evenly to all the fields. When Cole walked past and saw the work completed, he gave a small, approving nod. "Good job," he said quietly. Amara smiled politely but didn't respond. She was used to praise, but it was the quiet satisfaction of solving a problem that gave her real joy. By midday, the sun was high, and the heat made the work even harder. Amara moved from task to task, checking the fences, feeding the animals, and making sure the supplies were well organized. She even found time to tidy up the living quarters, ensuring that the ranch hands had a clean, comfortable place to rest. Each task, no matter how small, mattered to her. She wanted the ranch to thrive, and she knew that every detail contributed to that goal. In the afternoon, a small emergency arose. One of the calves had gotten its leg caught in the fence. The ranch hands tried to free it, but the calf was frightened and struggled, making the situation dangerous. Amara didn't hesitate. She instructed the ranch hands to stay calm and move back slowly. Then, with careful movements and a steady voice, she managed to free the calf without anyone getting hurt. Cole arrived just as the calf was safe, and he couldn't hide his admiration. He had seen many people panic in such situations, but Amara had handled it with grace and composure. Later, when they were alone, he said softly, "You've got away with these animals and with people too. That's not common." Amara felt a warm rush of pride, but she didn't let it distract her. She knew that actions spoke louder than words, and she preferred to show her value through her work rather than through conversation. Still, hearing Cole's praise gave her a quiet confidence, a sense that she was not only doing well, but also being noticed for her abilities. As the days turned into weeks, Amara began to take on more responsibilities. She started managing the schedules for the ranch hands, coordinating supply deliveries, and even negotiating with local vendors for better prices on feed and equipment. Cole began trusting her judgment more and more, often asking her opinion on matters he had previously handled alone. One afternoon, Cole and Amara were working together in the barn when he finally shared a part of his own struggles. "This ranch hasn't been easy to run," he admitted quietly. "My father left a lot of debts and I've been trying to keep it going. Some days it feels like it's slipping through my fingers." Amara listened carefully. She could see the weight he carried, the stress hidden behind his strong exterior. Without saying much, she offered practical suggestions on how to manage the finances, prioritize tasks, and motivate the ranch hands. Cole listened, impressed by her insight. It was rare to find someone who could understand the complexities of running a ranch and offer meaningful solutions. That evening, a storm rolled in. Dark clouds gathered over the fields and the wind began to howl. Rain poured down in heavy sheets, and the ranch hands rushed to secure the animals and protect the property. Amara moved calmly through the chaos, directing people where to go, making sure the fences held, and checking that the animals were safe. Cole watched her from the doorway, amazed at how composed she remained. Most people would have panicked in the storm, but Amara treated it like any other challenge, something to be handled with care and focus. By the time the storm passed, everything was safe, and the ranch had survived with minimal damage. Later that night, Cole found Amara reviewing the inventory and schedules by candlelight. She looked tired but determined, focused on finding better ways to run the ranch efficiently. He approached quietly and said softly, "If anyone can save this place, it's you, maybe even rule it someday." Amara's eyes widened at his words. She hadn't expected such a statement. It was both a compliment and a challenge, and it stirred something deep within her. Could she really handle such responsibility? Could she take charge of an entire ranch? The thought was both thrilling and frightening. Over the next few days, Amara began to see small changes in the ranch. The animals were healthier, the chores were more organized, and the ranch hands were working more efficiently. Her influence was spreading, even if she didn't realize it. People began to seek her guidance, trusting her judgment and following her suggestions. Cole observed quietly, realizing that she was more than just a housekeeper. She had a natural ability to lead, to organize, and to inspire confidence in others. He began to involve her in decisions about the ranch's future, seeking her advice on purchases, schedules, and even long-term plans for the property. One afternoon, a neighbor stopped by to discuss a potential partnership in buying supplies and equipment. Amara took the lead, negotiating terms calmly and effectively. Cole watched in quiet admiration as she handled the meeting with professionalism and confidence. It was clear that she had a talent for management, a skill he had not fully recognized until now. As the weeks passed, Amara's confidence grew. She felt more at home on the ranch than she had anywhere else in her life. Each day brought new challenges, but she faced them with determination and grace. The quiet respect she earned from the ranch hands, combined with Cole's growing trust, gave her a sense of belonging she had never known before. One evening, after a long day of work, Cole found Amara sitting on the porch, looking out at the sunset. The sky was painted with warm shades of orange and pink, and the ranch lay quiet and peaceful around them. He walked over and sat beside her, not speaking at first. After a moment, he whispered, "I've never met anyone like you. You'll rule this ranch, not just the house." Amara felt a rush of emotions, surprise, pride, and a quiet determination. She didn't know if she was ready for such responsibility, but she knew that she wanted to try. The idea of shaping the ranch, leading the people who lived and worked there, and making a real difference inspired her in a way nothing else had. That night, as she lay in her room, she thought about everything that had happened since her arrival. The hard work, the challenges, the small victories, and the trust she had earned, it all added up to something bigger than herself. She realized that the ranch was more than a job. It was a chance to grow, to lead, and to prove that she could rise to any challenge. Cole's words echoed in her mind, "You'll rule this ranch." They were not just words, they were a vision of the future, a promise of what could be. And for the first time in her life, Amara felt that she might actually be capable of achieving it. The ranch settled into a peaceful quiet that night. The animals were calm, the wind whispered through the fields, and Amara felt a sense of purpose and belonging. She knew that the days ahead would bring new challenges, but she also knew that she had the strength, skill, and determination to meet them. Somewhere nearby, Cole stood watching the ranch under the moonlight. He thought of Amara, of the quiet confidence she carried, and the way she had handled every challenge with grace and composure. He whispered once more, almost to himself, "She'll run this ranch, she's meant to." Amara didn't hear him, but the words hung in the air, a quiet promise of the challenges and triumphs to come. And as she drifted off to sleep, she felt ready for whatever the future held, determined to continue proving herself and excited for the journey ahead. The morning air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of wet earth from last night's rain. Amara stepped out onto the porch, her eyes sweeping across the ranch. The fields were alive with motion, cattle grazing, birds darting through the trees, and the distant clatter of the ranch hands beginning their chores. She inhaled deeply, feeling a sense of belonging stronger than ever. This was her world now, and she was determined to protect it. Over the past few weeks, Amara had grown more confident in her role. She had earned the respect of the ranch hands, who now looked to her for guidance as much as they did to Cole. She had learned the rhythm of the ranch, anticipating problems before they arose, and finding solutions with a calm efficiency that surprised even Cole. He had begun trusting her judgment completely, asking for her advice on nearly every decision. But a new challenge was approaching, one that would test her abilities in ways she had never imagined. A neighboring rancher, known for his aggressive tactics and sharp business sense, had begun buying up land around Cole's property. Rumors spread that he planned to pressure Cole into selling some of his fields, threatening the future of the ranch. Amara sensed the tension immediately. She knew that protecting the ranch would require more than hard work. It would require strategy, negotiation, and courage. Amara gathered the ranch hands in the barn one morning. "We have a situation," she began, her voice calm but firm. "There's a neighbor trying to buy land around us. If we're not careful, we could lose some of our fields." The men exchanged uneasy glances, but they listened as she continued. "We need to prepare. Check the fences, make sure the irrigation systems are secure, and keep an eye on the livestock. We also need to be smart in how we handle negotiations. If we work together, we can protect this ranch." Cole watched silently from the doorway, impressed by how naturally she had taken charge. He had always been the one to make the tough decisions, but now he realized that Amara had a rare gift for leadership. She could inspire people, organize tasks efficiently, and think strategically under pressure. The following days were intense. Amara spent hours reviewing the ranch's finances, checking supply inventories, and planning ways to increase productivity. She coordinated with local vendors to secure better prices on feed and equipment, and she organized the ranch hands to work efficiently while still maintaining high standards of care for the animals. Every detail mattered, and she paid close attention to each one. Amara also began working closely with Cole on long-term plans. They discussed ways to improve the ranch's reputation, host community events, and showcase the quality of their livestock. Cole found himself surprised by her creativity and insight. She suggested hosting a small fair, inviting neighboring ranchers and townsfolk to see the ranch's operations, taste the fresh produce, and even participate in a friendly livestock competition. It was a brilliant idea, one that could raise money, strengthen community ties, and send a clear message that the ranch was here to stay. As they planned, their partnership deepened. Cole admired Amara's dedication, intelligence, and calm confidence. Amara respected Cole's experience, knowledge, and quiet strength. They worked side by side, sometimes speaking in hushed tones about strategy, sometimes sharing small, light-hearted moments that eased the tension. It was clear that trust and respect had grown between them, though neither spoke openly about the feelings developing beneath the surface. Amara's past, however, had a way of catching up with her. One afternoon, as she was walking through the fields, a man appeared at the edge of the property. He was someone from her former life, someone she had hoped to leave behind. The sight of him made her heart race. He approached with a confident air, clearly expecting to intimidate her or convince her to return to her old life. Amara stood her ground. She felt the strength she had built over the past weeks, the sense of purpose, the respect of the ranch hands, and the growing bond with Cole. She refused to be pulled backward. Calmly but firmly, she told the man that she had a new life now, one she was proud of, and that she would not be leaving the ranch. The man tried to argue, but Amara's steady gaze and unyielding voice left no room for negotiation. Finally, he left frustrated, realizing that she was not the person he once knew. That evening, Amara shared the incident with Cole. He listened intently, his jaw tight with concern. "I'm glad you stood your ground," he said quietly. "This ranch is your home now. No one should be able to threaten that." Amara nodded, feeling both relief and a renewed sense of determination. She knew that challenges would continue to come, but she was ready to face them. The rival rancher soon made his presence more obvious. He began sending offers to buy parts of Cole's land, using aggressive tactics and subtle threats. Amara handled the situation with careful planning. She reviewed the ranch's finances, calculated the value of the land, and proposed a strategy to resist the pressure without jeopardizing the ranch's stability. She also worked on building alliances with other local ranchers, ensuring that they would support Cole if the situation escalated. The tension reached a peak one afternoon when the rival rancher arrived in person, intending to intimidate Cole and test the resolve of the ranch hands. Amara stepped forward confidently, speaking with a calm authority that surprised even the rival. She outlined the ranch's plans, the improvements they had made, and the strength of their community support. Her clear, measured words left no room for doubt. The ranch would not be easily intimidated or bought. Cole watched in quiet admiration. He realized that Amara was more than capable of handling challenges that he had faced alone for years. She had grown into a leader, someone who could protect the ranch and inspire those around her. Her courage, intelligence, and determination were undeniable. The rivalry brought the ranch closer together. The hands worked harder, motivated not just by fear of losing the land, but by admiration for Amara's leadership. She found herself coordinating more and more, making decisions quickly, and inspiring confidence in everyone. Even the animals seemed to respond to her calm authority, moving smoothly through the tasks she set for them. Amara also found herself growing personally. She had always been independent, but now she understood the power of collaboration, of trust, and of standing firm in the face of adversity. She learned to balance determination with patience, authority with kindness, and strategy with intuition. Each challenge strengthened her resolve and deepened her sense of purpose. Cole began to share more of his personal thoughts and worries with her. One evening, after a long day managing the ranch and preparing for the rivals' next move, they sat together on the porch, watching the sunset. Cole's voice was quiet but sincere. "I've been running this ranch for years, but I've never had anyone like you by my side. You see things I've missed. You understand people. You make this place stronger." Amara felt a warm surge of pride and humility. She knew that the words were more than praise, they were acknowledgement of her growth and her value. She also realized that she had begun to care deeply for Cole, not just as a mentor or partner in running the ranch, but as someone whose presence mattered to her. The next challenge came unexpectedly. A section of fencing had been damaged in a storm, and a group of cattle had wandered close to the rival rancher's land. Amara acted quickly, organizing the hands to round up the cattle safely. She assessed the damaged fence, calculated the resources needed for repair, and delegated tasks efficiently. Within hours, the cattle were safe, and the fence was secure. Cole, witnessing her calm decisiveness, felt a renewed confidence in her leadership. That night, as the ranch settled into a quiet calm, Cole approached Amara again. "You've done more than I could have imagined," he said softly. "This ranch isn't just surviving, it's thriving because of you. I never expected to find someone who could handle it all, and yet, here you are." Amara felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. The weight of leadership was heavy, but she embraced it willingly. She knew that challenges would continue to come, but she also knew that she was capable of meeting them. She had grown stronger, more confident, and more determined than ever. The days passed, each bringing new tasks, new challenges, and new opportunities. Amara continued to manage the ranch with skill and care, earning the trust and admiration of everyone around her. The rival rancher's threats became less frequent as he realized that the ranch would not be easily intimidated. Amara's leadership had transformed the atmosphere of the ranch, creating a sense of unity and purpose that had been missing for years. One evening, as the sun set over the fields, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange, Cole found Amara standing by the barn, watching the cattle. He approached quietly and whispered, "I knew from the start that you were different. You're not just a housekeeper, you're the heart of this ranch. You'll rule it one day, I'm sure of it." Amara turned to him, her eyes reflecting a mix of surprise, pride, and determination. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing. She was ready to face it, to protect the ranch, and to continue proving herself. The challenges were far from over, but for the first time in her life, she felt truly capable, truly valued, and truly at home. As night fell, the ranch lay quiet under the stars. The animals rested peacefully, the wind whispered through the trees, and Amara felt a deep connection to the land and the people she now called family. She knew that more trials awaited, that the rival rancher might try again, and that unforeseen problems could arise at any moment. But she also knew that she had the strength, the courage, and the determination to face them all. And somewhere nearby, Cole stood watching her, admiration and respect shining in his eyes. He whispered once more, almost to himself, "She's stronger than I ever imagined. She'll rule this ranch, and she'll do it well." Amara didn't hear him, but the words lingered in the air, a quiet promise of the triumphs, challenges, and growth yet to come. She turned her gaze back to the fields, ready for the next day, ready for the next challenge, and ready to prove that she truly belonged at the heart of the ranch. The morning sun rose over the ranch, golden and warm, casting a gentle light across the fields. Amara stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the fresh air. The ranch felt alive with possibility. After months of hard work, challenges, and growth, she had finally found her rhythm here. The ranch was no longer just a place to work. It was a home, a place she could protect, lead, and care for with pride. The days leading up to today had been tense. The rival rancher had returned, attempting once again to pressure Cole into selling part of his land. This time, his methods were more aggressive, with lawyers, letters, and rumors circulating among the local ranchers. Amara knew this would be their biggest challenge yet. It wasn't just about hard work anymore. It was about strategy, courage, and unity. She began the day by calling a meeting of all the ranch hands. "Listen carefully," she said, her voice calm and firm. "We've faced challenges before and we've overcome them. This is another test. We must stay organized, protect our land, and work together. Every decision we make today matters." The men nodded, their respect for her evident. They trusted her judgment, and more importantly, they believed in her. Cole stood beside her silently, watching with quiet admiration. He had always been strong, capable, and experienced, but he now realized that Amara had become an equal in vision and leadership. She had a way of inspiring people, making them see what was possible, even in the face of uncertainty. Amara spent the morning reviewing the ranch's finances, ensuring that every detail was in order. She checked inventory, coordinated with suppliers, and made sure the cattle were healthy and safe. Then she focused on the larger strategy, how to protect the ranch from the rivals' attempts without compromising their operations. She drafted a plan to demonstrate the ranch's strength, showcasing the improvements they had made, the quality of their livestock, and the support of the local community. By midday, the rival rancher arrived at the edge of the property, flanked by a few men and carrying a confident, almost arrogant air. He had assumed that the ranch would be intimidated by his presence. But Amara stood calmly in the open field, her posture straight, her eyes clear and unwavering. Cole was nearby, but he let her take the lead, trusting her instincts completely. The rival approached, smirking. "I hear you've been running things while I've been away," he said. "Not bad for a housekeeper, but this ranch will never survive without me controlling it." Amara's voice was steady. "This ranch has survived long before you came along, and it will continue to thrive without your interference. We have a plan, we have community support, and we have the skills and dedication to protect this land. You will not intimidate us or take what is ours." The rival's smirk faltered slightly. He had expected hesitation, fear, or uncertainty, not a calm and confident challenge. Amara continued, outlining their improvements: new irrigation systems, healthier livestock, organized schedules, and strong financial management. She emphasized the loyalty of the ranch hands and the backing of the local community. Each word she spoke carried authority, clarity, and a quiet strength that left no room for argument. Cole watched silently, impressed by her skill. She was not just defending the ranch, she was demonstrating leadership, intelligence, and courage. The rival rancher, seeing that his usual tactics would not work, finally left, muttering under his breath. Amara had protected the ranch without a fight, through strategy and confidence rather than confrontation. With the immediate threat gone, Amara turned her attention to the long-term well-being of the ranch. She organized a community event, inviting neighboring ranchers and townsfolk to visit the property. They showcased the improvements, allowed guests to participate in small activities with the livestock, and served fresh produce from the ranch's own gardens. The event was a success, raising money, building trust, and strengthening relationships. The ranch's reputation grew, and Cole and Amara's bond with the community deepened. Throughout the day, Cole observed Amara handling every task with precision and grace. She coordinated the workers, managed guests, and ensured that every detail was perfect. He realized that she was more than just a housekeeper. She was the heart and mind of the ranch, a true leader who could inspire, organize, and protect. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Amara and Cole walked through the fields together. The air was calm, the cattle were settled, and the ranch lay peaceful and strong. Cole spoke softly, his voice carrying a mix of pride and admiration. "I've watched you grow, Amara. I've seen your courage, your intelligence, your dedication. This ranch isn't just surviving, it's thriving because of you. You've become more than I ever expected." Amara smiled, feeling a warm sense of accomplishment. She had faced challenges, learned new skills, and proven herself capable of leadership. But more importantly, she had found a place where she belonged, where her abilities mattered, and where she could make a real difference. Over the following weeks, Amara continued to take on greater responsibility. She supervised the daily operations, managed finances, and coordinated with suppliers and neighboring ranchers. She even began planning for future expansions, improving pastures, increasing livestock, and implementing new systems for irrigation and crop management. The ranch was no longer just surviving, it was thriving, and her leadership was at the center of its success. The ranch hands had grown to trust her completely. They followed her directions without hesitation, knowing that her decisions were fair, smart, and in the best interest of the ranch. Even Cole relied on her guidance more and more, consulting with her on major decisions and seeking her opinion on challenges that had once been his alone to handle. Amara's relationship with Cole deepened as well. Their partnership had begun with mutual respect and admiration, but it had grown into something more, a quiet bond built on trust, shared experiences, and understanding. They didn't need to speak about their feelings openly. Their actions, support, and presence spoke louder than words. One evening, after a long day of work and a successful community meeting, Cole took Amara's hand as they walked through the ranch. "You've done something incredible here," he said quietly. "You've transformed this place and you've shown me what true leadership looks like. You've earned the right to lead this ranch, to protect it, and to shape its future." Amara felt a surge of emotion, pride, gratitude, and a deep sense of belonging. She realized that her journey had come full circle. She had arrived as a housekeeper, unsure of her place, and now she stood as a true leader, trusted and respected by everyone around her. The days that followed were filled with continued progress. Amara implemented new systems for feeding and caring for the animals, improved storage and organization for supplies, and worked on long-term plans for the ranch's growth. She also ensured that the ranch hands were supported and motivated, recognizing their efforts and building a strong, cohesive team. Cole continued to stand beside her, offering support and sharing his experience, but he also gave her space to lead. He had learned to trust her completely, knowing that her judgment was sound and her dedication unwavering. Together, they formed a partnership that balanced experience with innovation, strength with strategy, and vision with practicality. As weeks turned into months, the ranch became a model of success. Visitors came from neighboring areas to see the improvements, local vendors sought partnerships, and the community recognized the ranch as a place of stability, growth, and care. Amara's leadership had transformed not only the ranch itself, but also the people who worked there, fostering a sense of pride, unity, and purpose. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Amara stood on a small rise overlooking the ranch. The fields stretched out before her, dotted with cattle, barns, and windmills turning slowly in the breeze. She felt a profound sense of accomplishment and belonging. This ranch was no longer just a place of work. It was a home, a community, and a testament to her growth, resilience, and leadership. Cole approached quietly, standing beside her. He looked out over the fields with her, his eyes filled with admiration and respect. "You've done it, Amara," he said softly. "This ranch is stronger, healthier, and more prosperous because of you. You've proven yourself and you've earned the right to lead. I've never met anyone like you." Amara turned to him, a smile lighting her face. "I couldn't have done it without your support," she said. "You trusted me when I was just starting, and that made all the difference." Cole reached out, gently taking her hand. "You're not just capable, you're extraordinary. This ranch belongs to both of us now, and I know that with you here, it will continue to thrive for years to come." As they stood together, looking out over the land they had worked so hard to protect, Amara felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. She had faced challenges, overcome threats, and proven herself in ways she had never imagined. She had earned respect, trust, and a place she could truly call home. And somewhere in the quiet of the ranch, under the fading light of the sunset, Cole whispered once more, almost to himself, "I knew you'd do this. You were meant to rule here." Amara didn't need to hear the words to know they were true. She felt them in every decision she made, every challenge she overcame, and every moment she dedicated to the ranch. She was no longer just a housekeeper. She was a leader, a protector, and a part of something greater than herself. The ranch settled into a peaceful quiet as night fell. The animals rested, the wind whispered through the fields, and Amara felt a profound connection to the land, the people, and the life she had built. She knew there would be future challenges, new opportunities, and more work to be done, but she also knew that she was ready. She was ready to continue leading, protecting, and nurturing the ranch she loved. And with Cole by her side, she knew that together they could face anything. The ranch was safe, thriving, and full of promise. Amara had found her place, and she would continue to grow, lead, and shape its future with strength, courage, and heart.